Hello everyone, this is Kim Stacy, the founder and host of Cali Espresso Life on the Cusp of Change, where I help you navigate the winds of change that often blow through your life and career. And third time's the charm. This is my third attempt at posting on Facebook. This week I've been able to post on Periscope, and thank you Periscope for auto-correcting my correctly spelled words, so now they're incorrectly spelled, and also live on Instagram earlier this week, where I attempted to simultaneously go live on Facebook, but for some reason Facebook just hasn't been cooperating this week. So this is my third attempt for Facebook, and I'm doing it solo. This is I'm not cross-posting today or this time. So hopefully it works. Hopefully my technological problems have been resolved. First, I would like to thank my sponsor, my new sponsor, She Beverage Incorporated. This episode and my podcast is supported in part by the craft beer company She Beverage Incorporated, endorsing life through beverages that translate taste, quality, and passion. She Beer, She Vodka, She Tequila, Elevate 420, the hemp beer, and Supplement H2O. Investment opportunities await you at shebeverages.com. Visit today. I'm sharing again today the nature of my work and what my purpose is, and that is to help you. And it took me a long time to figure that out. And my backstory is that I moved to Southern California from Northern California about 17 years ago. And it was just after the crash of the dot-com era in Silicon Valley. I was unable to find decent work like many others during that time. So I transplanted myself here in hopes of better days. I told myself I would give it 2 years. If after 2 years I was still struggling, I would move back home. I think my struggle lasted 5 years, and in my stubbornness, I just refused to move back home. I had the hardest time finding a job, and all I wanted at the time was for someone to help me. And someone did. I often say that no one helped me, but someone did. I wanted someone to help me find work through a mutual connection or recommend me for work. And I often say that that never happened, but it didn't happen, I guess, as often as I would have hoped that it would. I thought that I was a better friend to my friends and that they would come through for me. And years later, I realized that I probably wasn't the best of friends to a lot of my friends, and maybe that's why no one ever really stuck their neck out for me. In retrospect, though, I am grateful that no one ever came through for me at that time. I now know I was meant to hit rock bottom so that I could come back as my new self, better for all the experiences that I've had, and I've had quite a few serious experiences. So you want to keep an eye out for the book. Yes, there is a book, and I have the rough draft done, and I'm pretty excited about that. I printed it the other day, and I shared it with my mom, and I said, wow, it's actually happening. It's a real book. So right now I'm working on editing it and revising it a little bit, and that's going to take some time. And my initial hope was to have it completed by the end of the year, the end of this year. I don't know that that's going to happen, but I'm going to try. I'm going to make every effort to get that done within the next couple of weeks, and I think it's possible. Those of you who are in contact with me, constant contact with me, know that I probably won't be easily swayed by the holiday season because I don't celebrate Christmas anymore. I'm not really sure how to explain it, but Christmas to me and Thanksgiving and a lot of other holidays that people traditionally celebrate, and I did also celebrate for many years, are things that I don't celebrate anymore for spiritual reasons. I have found my Hebraic roots, I guess I should say, and I now know the truth. So I have time, unlike a lot of other people who are caught up in the hustle and bustle of this holiday season. I won't be doing any Christmas shopping. Just don't do it anymore. I haven't done it for a couple of years. And I won't be out there, fighting traffic or fighting people at the stores, or didn't participate in Black Friday. None of that stuff goes on in my life anymore. I just don't engage because it's not my thing anymore. And so I have 2 solid weeks. I have some family coming in. My brother's going to be coming here. So of course there's going to be a dinner that we'll get together and spend some time together, family and things like that. But I pretty much have the whole next 2 weeks to get the book done if I really wanted to. So yeah, it is a possibility. But anyways, back to my initial reason for making this post, my Competitive Edge career video is because I wanted to encourage people. This is the time of year that not only are people going through all of their holiday nonsense and stuff, but and family stuff, but it's a time of year where people start reevaluating their lives and their careers, and people do New Year's resolutions, and I stopped doing that years ago. But I think my New Year's resolution this year might be something fun, like, I don't know, engage in flirting a little bit more. I don't know. I'm not going to vow to lose 100 pounds or, straighten my hair or whiten my teeth, or I don't know. I'm not going to do all that kind of stuff, but I might do something like flirt more. That sounds like fun. But it's also the time when people start thinking about their job and their careers and what the next year will bring as far as employment is concerned, and then also increases in pay, changes in responsibilities, and all of that stuff. So I wanted to put this out now. I put it out, as I said, and just earlier, about an hour ago, did Periscope for the first time. So I'm doing Facebook again, and I wanted to share with you my past and my experience, and then some things that you can do moving forward. So this should be a good one. It's kind of like a post that encompasses about 3 different topics that I've shared in the past. So after moving here 17 years ago, for a long time, I worked menial jobs doing this or that. I worked for temp agencies. I worked for friends' companies. I worked in insurance, full circle. I recently, or a little over a year ago, became an insurance agent. Don't do that anymore. But I worked menial jobs that lasted for about 2 years, a little more than 2 years. And at the time, I also struggled with depression. And those of you who know me and knew me back then, you remember this. I needed some serious encouragement from my circle that either just wasn't there or I didn't realize was there and didn't take advantage of it. So eventually I got it all together and I launched my career in human resources, which lasted nearly 2 decades. And during that time, I went back to school and completed my master's in psychology and launched my consulting practice in career counseling. Now, I wanted to help others find work and help others advance their careers to a level that they deserved, because, like I said, that's all I really wanted and needed when I was down and out. In the beginning, I gave away all of my services in the name of helping people, and I don't regret it one bit. I have helped hundreds of people build up their confidence, reinvent themselves, identify their key strengths and best skills, and define an achievement-based resume that gets them noticed. I no longer write resumes, but I still give advice on creating a document that gets you noticed, a document that gets you the interview and sets you apart from the masses. People have asked me recently, why are you not helping entrepreneurs and helping other people become entrepreneurs? Wouldn't that be better? And I'll tell you why I don't focus on entrepreneurs. One, it's not my expertise. It's not. This naturally comes to me. Helping people with their careers naturally comes to me, and my career has been, designed around it. Number 2, because everyone on social media has targeted their expertise in businesses towards entrepreneurs already. And number 3, not everyone wants to be an entrepreneur. It's as simple as that. Not everyone is all about that grind and hustle lifestyle. Not everyone wants to work for themselves. Not everyone wants to endure the struggle of the startup, waiting for promised riches that may never come. because it really is all about your effort. I was talking to a friend earlier about how, I have to do all of these different things and I'm doing it all by myself, and sometimes I just don't know if I can do it. And it would be nice to be able to partner with someone in a relationship where we have the same goals in mind and we're going after the same things, and we understand the lifestyle and the mentality of the person who is building a business for themselves, who's building their career around their independent business. And it's challenging. Well, it might be challenging, and we were talking about that too, the challenges in finding someone to have a relationship, a meaningful, intimate relationship with, who understands all of those things. It's certainly, I believe, it's certainly doable. It's certainly doable. So for some, this life is too difficult of work and it's too risky, and I completely understand that. Some people believe that it's a curse and they have resigned themselves to be single forever. And I don't agree that it's a curse, and I don't believe that everyone who is an entrepreneur in business for themselves remains single forever. I think you just have to find the person who understands what you're doing, the reasons behind it, and supports you in all of that. And it certainly is possible to find that significant other. So some of us desire a little more stability than the entrepreneurial hustle affords, and that's okay. Some of you want the regular 9-to-5 job, and there's nothing wrong with that. You're the one I'm here for. You're the one I've created my life's work around. And just remember, though, that working a 9-to-5 doesn't have many guarantees either, as long as we're clear on that. There isn't as much stability in working for someone else as much as there was, say, 25 years ago. And that's just the reality of most corporations today. They don't value loyalty as much as they used to. So you have to be ready for anything at all times. So what exactly is it that I do? There isn't much science to what I do, but if you want to talk science, I can talk to you about developmental psychology and possibly why you've traveled through the path that you have traveled and ended up in the career that you now have. And if you want to change that direction, we can revisit some of the things developmentally from your past and see if we can find the path that maybe would have been or might be still be better suited for you. But it's really not science that I'm doing here. It's mostly practical advice based on my personal experiences and experiences that I've had in working with others, and tried and true methods that I have used successfully for more than a decade. So what I do in a nutshell is I help to prepare you to find the work that works best for you. If you need encouragement, I'll encourage you. If you need to rebuild your confidence, I'll help you do that. There was a time when I would walk into an office with a candidate, and some of you can probably attest to this. I would introduce him or her to the hiring manager and say, "Hey, Joe, remember last week when you said you needed XYZ? Well, here she is. Let me introduce you to your new marketing manager." Do you know how much confidence it takes to be able to do that? Confidence on my part. And I'm not the most confident person, but for some reason I'm really good at selling other people. I really am good at selling an idea, a concept, a person on all of their own skills and abilities, and then also taking all of that information and that confidence that they exude and selling it to the person who's doing the hiring. I'm really good at doing that. So I think the best example I can give you of, or the best reason I can give you of how I gained that confidence was that I walked into an office one day and I was speaking to a recruiter who helped me get my start in human resources after building a successful career in direct marketing and video gaming as a project manager and a supervisor. This person once told me, you walk into an interview acting like you have all the experience in the world. And you want to walk in there and act like you already have the job, like you belong there. And the key word that stuck out in my mind was act. I just needed to act, and I could act. I had done some great acting in college. While it was not something I was ever interested in doing professionally, and I'm an introvert, so it scared the heck out of me to get up on stage and just, be this character, this other person. Although I had those feelings, I could just act. And I knew that I knew what I was talking about, and I knew what I was doing, and I could act confident, and that's exactly what I did. That acting gave me the confidence I needed to believe I could do this work. It gave me the ability to be able to approach anyone about anything, as long as, except in dating. I struggle in that area. um, Except in dating. It gave me the ability to be able to approach anyone about anything career related, as long as it was in my mind that it was just an act, a harmless act. And that acting mindset, the merely playing a role I know I can do, but maybe just haven't been given the opportunity to do so until now, is what gave me the confidence to sell others on my experience and skills, and has helped me help others like you do the same. It's all about overcoming our mind and acting the part we know we deserve. So let's talk about your resume for a minute. I mentioned earlier that I no longer write resumes. I think I mentioned it. I should have mentioned it. I no longer write resumes. I just don't have the time. And honestly, at this point, because I've written them for so long, they're all starting to sound alike, look alike, and it's become a little tedious. I feel that I can be a greater help to a greater number of people through my podcast, social media, webinars, and trainings than I can spending countless hours reviewing, revising, and creating resumes from scratch for one person at a time. The most resumes I have completed in a day are 5, and that was 5, and that was really pushing it. Not to mention exhausting, but I do know what works and what doesn't, and I am more than happy to pass all that information about creating your most impressive resume on to you. So what is the resume's purpose? Let's start there for a minute. A resume is just a tool. It's just a tool. Its sole purpose is to help you get your foot in the door. Its purpose is not to get you the job. It's just not. No matter how impressive that resume may be, I guarantee getting the job is determined by everything you do pre, during, and post-interview, and that's where I come in. I coach you every step of the way so you walk in knowing you are the best candidate for the job, and you'll be able to articulate your experience and skills like never before. So where do we begin? We ironically begin with your resume. As a former professional resume writer who has worked for Top Resume and Monster Resume, the same company, by the way. So if you decide to work with Top Resume or Monster Resume, go to whoever is offering the lower price point. I wrote for both of them, and it is the same parent company. They have the same parent company, so that's just a little tip for you. A resume alone is not, I'm sorry, a resume writer, I've written over 500 resumes across multiple industries in about a year's span, and it's just not, it's not what it used to be. It's just not. I mean, it's very competitive. So what we'll do is we'll review and revise your resume. So start looking for it now, dust it off, and message me to get started on your new career. During this initial consultation, I ask questions to help me get to know your work history and your work ethic, and I make some suggestions for improvement and then give you some homework. Yay, homework. We'll get together a second and third time possibly, and then by the third time we conclude our meeting, we'll be ready to get back out there. You'll be ready to get back out there and conquer your career. The second question that I'm often asked is, how much is this going to cost me? And I'll start by saying quality does not come free. But I assure you I'm reasonably priced, so there's no excuse for us not working together. There really isn't. I'm not a celebrity guru with outrageous celebrity level fees. If you remember, I started this company with people like you and me in mind, and my interest and purpose is to help others, and that includes setting my fees so anyone can afford me. Much of what I put out is free. I have several downloads that you can access through Instagram and or my website, calliespresso.com. You can listen to my podcast, Callie Espresso, Life on the Cusp of Change. You can follow me on Instagram and Facebook. You can join my Facebook group and receive access to exclusive free content. Don't let fear stop you. There's nothing to be afraid of. Do something good for yourself, your family, your career, and join me on this journey and take all that you can get from it. I'm just like oozing free content right now. So, tune in, download, provide feedback. You can even criticize the heck out of me because I can handle it. I can take it. I've got to the point in my life now where it no longer matters to me what other people think about me. It no longer matters to me what people say about me. I've just decided that the best thing that I can do for myself is to be myself 100% and let everything that is directed towards me that's not positive energy, let all of that negativity, all that the negative comments, the negative feedback, the negative whatever, just roll right off. Constructive criticism is welcome. I'm open to that because I am doing all of this by myself. So if you see something where you think I might need a little bit of help or need to improve, I'm open to constructive feedback. You can message me. So why should you trust me with your career? I'm experienced. I'm offering 17 years of experience, more than 25 years of work experience in general. I'm a Gen Xer, and what that means is that I've been around the block a few times. And I've used tried and true methods that work, and I continue to use those. My background is in human resources, and I have 10 years as a corporate recruiter that gives me insight others just don't possess. I've conducted hundreds of interviews and know what works and what doesn't. Basically, I've done the legwork for you, so you don't have to. The next thing I want to talk to you about is your elevator speech. Have you ever prepared an elevator speech or a pitch? Sometimes it's called a pitch. If you haven't, you're probably thinking you don't have a need for one. If you don't feel that you have a need for one, then that tells me that you're not networking enough, if at all. And that's crucial to your job search today or your career advancement today. Once you increase the amount of networking you do, the more you will see the need for this integral part of your job search. It can also be fashioned in a way that tells someone why you should be considered for a promotion. So people either don't have time to hear your explanation of why you should be interviewed or get the job or promoted, or they don't want to hear it. They don't want to take the time to hear it. So you don't want to take up too much of their time. You want to have ready the short and sweet of it for a few different reasons. That's one. But you want to be able to sell your abilities to the next employer, and you want to be able to do so in the shortest amount of time possible. The elevator speech is a brief statement that describes what you do, what you offer, or bring to the table of your field of work that can be delivered in the length it takes for a quick ride on an elevator, less than a minute in most instances, and some argue the speech should be no longer than 30 seconds. While 30 seconds doesn't sound long enough, if your speech is well thought out and advanced, it's possible to cover several bases and still meet this under 30-second rule. I'll show you an example a little bit later. Your main objective should be to identify your goal or objective in delivery. Define what you want to achieve. Do you want to achieve an interview, an informal meeting? Like an informal meeting would be like grab a cup of coffee. Are you requesting a promotion or a raise? So that's just a few examples. You could probably use it for a few more, but those are the three that I typically focus on. You want to be able to explain what you do in a nutshell. What pain do you alleviate or resolve? Keep it short and sweet while being impactful at the same time. Be able to communicate or articulate your unique selling proposition or selling point, something that sets you apart from everyone else in your field. What do you offer? Engage with a question or comment. Write it all down, fine tune it, and then rewrite it again. Practice makes perfect, so you want to practice this until it rolls off your tongue with ease. Practice until you can deliver it in your sleep. Practice, practice, practice. And you do not have to reiterate this verbatim, but you want to know it well enough that it does sound natural when you deliver it, and it's not something that you're like, well, you know, what I do is, or, you know, well, my title is, or practice. And then what's your call to action? You have to be able to identify your call to action, and it should be at least to get their business card, if not an invitation to an interview. Don't be afraid to ask for the interview either. It's not that much different from asking for a business card. If you can muster up the strength and the courage to say, may I have your business card? It's not too far off for you to just say, may I request an interview? It's a couple of words different. Really, it's not that bad. Don't be afraid. What do you have to lose? What's the worst that could happen? The worst that could happen is that the person says no. But there's a 50-50 chance that they might say, yes, I would love to interview you. So again, what do you have to lose? Nothing. You have absolutely nothing to lose at all by asking for an interview. And you can ask for 15 minutes. That's all you want. 15 minutes to discuss mutual benefits and honor that promise, and only take 15 minutes of that person's valuable time. They'll appreciate it and they'll remember you for it. So I said I would give you an example, show you an example, and I'm not showing you an example. I'm actually going to just read it for my own career, and I timed it as well. It only took 22 seconds to say from beginning to end, including my name is. So, assuming the person doesn't already know you, my name is Kim Stacy. I'm a career counselor with experience in human resources, training, and recruiting. I specialize in women's leadership and conduct webinars on developing a winning mindset to succeed in today's job market. I work with both seasoned professionals and new job seekers entering the workforce for the first time. I have successfully placed 96% of my candidates during the last 2 recessions. Will you give me 15 minutes of your time to share with you how I can do the same for your company? And that's it. That was 22 seconds. I don't know if any of you timed me, but I only timed myself once and I came up with 22. So it's less than 30 and certainly less than a minute, 60 seconds. Yes, it's that simple. So the more you practice this, the more confident you will become in recalling and delivering it when needed. Let's move on to the dreaded interview. You asked for it, you got it, now what? There is so much to talk about when it comes to interviewing. So what I decided to do here was narrow it down to just the first top 3 tips that I would recommend for someone who hasn't interviewed before or has been out of the workforce for a while and re-entering. And of course, as time goes on and I post more and more videos, I'll cover other bases, but I wanted to start with those 3 things that most people typically need a refresher on or need to be educated on. And that's attire, what to wear and what not to wear. The second thing is portfolio, what should I bring? And then the third thing is, it's actually something that takes place prior to 1 and 2, and that is to match the advertisement job posting objectives with your own experiences. And I'll explain that a little bit more in a moment. But attire I'm going to talk about a little bit later, but portfolio, what should I bring with me to the interview? And more importantly, what not to bring. Do not bring mom, dad, or children. Find a sitter for the kids and make your parents sit in the car. I can't tell you how many times I've had parents come to an interview or a career counseling meeting with, this is when I was working for the colleges, a career counseling meeting with their children. Your children are adults now, and you guys are adults now. And, as late as 25, 26, 27, parents are coming to meetings, and they really just shouldn't be at that point. They should not be sitting next to you in the waiting room when you go for an interview or a career counseling session. And sometimes it's not just the new grads that do this. They will not be invited to join us in our meeting, and they should not be mad about this. And you shouldn't be offended either. And you should actually be grateful that I'm helping you out at this point with something like that. They shouldn't be expected to be included in every aspect of your life by now. And this is certainly one of those areas. And I know they want to help you and they want the best for you, but they're going to have to let go at some point. You want to bring 3 copies of your spell-checked resume. You want to bring examples of the projects that you have worked on, as long as it's not proprietary information that you're pulling from your employer. You can bring samples of something that you created in class or at school, or while you're in college, if it's relevant to the work that you're applying for. 3 professional references, names, phone numbers, companies where you worked with them, not where they're working now, the companies where you worked with them, and also have 2 to 3 personal references handy just in case. And I'll talk about references another time, but for now, make sure you have those 3 professional references and the personal ones as well. These are people who will not only remember you, but who will speak well of you and can attest to your stellar work ethic, and your work ethic should be stellar. Your work ethic, your performance, and your likability. And a little bit of advice on this is to be sure to request permission from these people to list them as references, and then inform them what company and job you've applied to so they can know to expect the call soon. So back to that copy of the advertisement or the job posting, you want to take that and you want to read it several times and then identify examples from your work experiences that meet the objectives of the duties presented in the position you're interviewing for. You want to write these objectives and your experiences on 3x5 or 4x6 cards next to each other and review them regularly. You don't have to memorize them if you don't want to, but know the information well enough to be able to draw from it when needed. It'll help you get the conversation going and reduce the number of incidences where you're just saying yes or no in response to questions. You want to be able to say, yes, I can meet that responsibility, objective, or blah, 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 by doing XYZ or giving an example of how you have met that in the past. These, if you haven't already written your elevator speech, these same cards then also become useful in developing your elevator speech. And remember where you will state your expertise, a great achievement, and then a call to action such as requesting the interview or follow-up call with that person all in under 30 seconds. It can be done. You just have to know your stuff. You know your stuff, right? Yeah, you know your stuff. You want to keep all this information handy. You never know when you'll have to refer to it in the future. And a lot of times if you're out just like having the car washed or dropping the kids off at school or, running around, standing in line, especially this time of year, right? A lot of you are going to be standing in really long lines. You can have these cards ready and available so that you can review them at any time. A little side note here, an important fact is to remember that looking for a job or looking to advance your career is a full-time job. And in the same way that you are diligent about your work, you need to be diligent, just as diligent in your job search or in advancing your career. You want to stay organized and keep good notes, and that could be what helps to set you apart from the masses. So when someone calls you, you're not asking questions that you really should know the answers to, such as, I'm sorry, what company is this? And what position is this? And oh, I'm sorry, I spoke with Sarah. Is this Sarah? Oh, no, it's not Sarah, it's Karen. Oh, I'm sorry, Karen, did we meet? You're not saying things like that on the phone. So if you're using my job search journal, and I do have a job search journal where you can keep all of this information at the ready all the time, then you're already ahead of the game. And if you're not, and you don't have access to it or you don't have it yet, then you can click the link in the bio, or you can go to my site. I don't know if I've updated the link, but you can go to my site, calispresso.com, and you can get the job search journal to stay on top of your job search and application status in a convenient and organized way. You can thank me later. So let's return to attire real quick before we close out this whole live feed here, live stream here. These days, what is acceptable varies by industry and generation, but a fail-safe outfit will always be a well-tailored or well-fitting off-the-rack suit or dress suit. And this is not a fashion show, and while I encourage you to express yourself in a way you normally do, you want to keep it to a minimum. So again, this is not a fashion show. Unless you are applying for work in fashion, stick with basic black or navy and nothing too fancy or frilly. Personally, I prefer navy, but if you choose to go with black, you want to couple it with a color, solid color shirt or like a pinstripe shirt. Suit, coat, blazer, or cardigan is a must. Please do not attend an interview wearing short or sleeveless shirts and blouses, male or female. You want to dress conservatively, and I am the queen of conservative, and if you know me and know me well, you know I am the queen of conservative. So I can work with you on this too. If you need help, you can message me, and I'm not kidding. I'm seriously not kidding. I'll work with you on this free of charge. Free of charge. And don't think I'm old-fashioned. You really need to get the attire, the career and interview attire right. You want to wear a tie, socks, stockings, and polished closed-toe shoes. And I know you guys are laughing because I said socks, but it's amazing to me the number of people who don't wear socks, number of men who don't wear socks with their dress shoes. Get a haircut, shave even, and tie your hair up or back. Keep makeup simple and use it sparingly. And I just want to say that I hope all of this helps. I know it's a lot of information, And I interjected a lot of other things that I actually hadn't intended on sharing in this broadcast, but I just want to make sure that everyone gets this right. No matter the stage you are in your career, these are things that you need to be thinking about. And if you're not looking for a career change, not looking for a job, not looking to advance or anything like that, but you know someone who is, you could certainly share this with them. You can reiterate the information to them, or you can just click the little button, like, share on the end of the broadcast, and certainly help someone out in that way. And it helps me out too, and I'm not afraid to say that. So until next time, be sure to click on the link for access to free documents, or go to calispresso.com. And again, I want to say thank you, She Beverage Incorporated, for sponsoring Cali Espresso, Life on the Cusp of Change, where I help you navigate the winds of change that often blow through your life and career. Investment opportunities await you at shebeverages.com. Visit today to learn more about this celebrity-driven beverage company. Join thousands of others on Facebook. You can follow them at She Beverage Company today. All my best. Thank you.